This week on the Storycraft Society, we're going to be doing Quickcraft number 2, where we're going to be making these cliff stackers. Let's go. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. My name is Garmin, and this is the Storycraft Society, and this week we're doing episode number 2 of our series called Quickcraft, where we're going to be making a piece of Dungeons & Dragons terrain that should only take us 1 afternoon. I'm really excited about this week's, and we're going to be doing cliff stackers, which is the most used piece of terrain in my collection by far. I mean, rocks might be up there, because obviously rocks are just super versatile, but boy, these things really make a battlefield come to life, and there's one reason for that: elevation. A 2D map is really nice, and a well-drawn 2D map can be so fun to play on, but the one thing that it can't do is show elevation, where the bad guys are, where the heroes are, and what the heroes have to do climbing-wise to get to those bad guys, or vice versa. Cliff stackers are going to be the thing that you can use to do that. I have 9 cliff stackers in my collection, and I'm going to show a couple of different battlefields that I've made using cliff stackers, and look at the versatility out of these pieces. I mean, you just can get so many wildly different results out of them, which is what makes them such a versatile and useful piece. They're very easy to make. You're just going to be putting rock texture on one side and dirt texture on the top, so it's easy to bang out a whole bunch of them, and I only have 9 in my collection, and that's gotten me years of gaming. That's all I need. So they don't even have that much of a time commitment that's built into them. So I'm talking a lot. I know I'm really excited about this one, so when I'm excited I get jabbering, but let's just jump into crafting. All right, so to get this project started off, we're gonna take our piece of XPS insulation foam, and then what we're gonna do is start carving around the outside edges of it with our Olfa knife, and that's gonna be what starts to get our kind of like cliff edge shape. The trick is here, you don't want to go at too much of an angle. And the reason for that is if you do cut it more slanted, it's going to end up looking more like a hill and less like a cliff face. So for this particular stage, you're gonna wanna make sure you're going as vertical as possible with your cut all the way around the outside edge, trying to make it natural, but also keeping it vertical. So once you have that done, the next cut is where we get to make this thing start to look a little bit more natural. Now what we're gonna do is go over these sharp edges here, and we're gonna start to bevel those so that they're a little bit more smooth, so it's not completely flat to completely vertical. You can go in a little more if you want, you can go down a little more if you want. This is the cut where you can start to kind of break these edges up a little bit. But make sure you leave a decent amount of flat space on the top, because again, you are gonna be placing terrain and that sort of thing up on top of these. Okay, so now that we have that done, the final thing that we need to do is get the top carved up. So because it's got this kind of unfinished, or I guess you could call it natural edge on the top of the XPS, we need to get that all carved off. And so the way that you do that is by taking your Olfa, putting it out as far as you can get it, and then just carefully skimming over the top like this, and slowly working your way across the top, trying to make it as close as you can to even. But remember, ground is not even, so you don't need it to be perfect. As close as you can get it will be good enough. And then once you've made it across the entire surface, then we're gonna move on to texturing this thing up with our tinfoil ball. But for right now, let's get the top all cleaned up. So next up is everybody's favorite step. We're gonna be taking our tinfoil ball and going over the entire piece. This gets a 100% rubbing of this guy. Make sure that you get every nook and cranny. Talking about fast projects, I think that was 4 steps and our sculpt is done. This thing is ready to start getting some detailing, and how we're gonna start that is by taking and putting some glue down and then covering the top with sand to give us a nice visual difference between our rock texture on the side of our cliffs compared to the dirt on the top. So that is next. Let's go. All right, so while this glue is drying, there's definitely something that I want to address that I'm sure some of you are thinking, which is, Garmin, isn't this project very similar to the Cragmaw Hideout cave tiles video? And the answer to that is yes. I mean, it's very similar in a lot of ways, but the ways that it's different is what's really important. And so there's 3 of those things. The first one is, with this project compared to the cave tiles, you want to make sure that all of the sides are as vertical as you can make them. That's really important because that allows you to butt 2 pieces side by side or front to back up against each other and make a flat topped surface. With the cave tiles, we made everything kind of go at a slant to make it look natural and kind of sloping cavern-like. That's not going to be good for butting 2 of these pieces together. The next one is the shape of the piece is important. They all need to be the same height, definitely in the first set that you've made, but all of my cliff stackers are all the same height. And the reason for that is it allows you to stack them up and them not teeter-totter and be at weird angles. It allows you to place scatter terrain on top of them and not worry about it sliding off. The final thing is with the cave tiles, you had all kinds of irregular ups and downs, and they're caves, right? They're supposed to be natural and ebbing and flowing. With these pieces, you want them to be as flat-topped as possible. That will give you the most versatility to place scatter terrain and things on top. You're gonna get more usage out of them. So, that said, let's get back into crafting. So next up is our Blackmagic Craft base coat, which is just a 50-50 mixture of matte Mod Podge and black acrylic craft paint. This is gonna go all over everything. Now, I know some people don't like it that I say every episode that this is the Blackmagic Craft base coat, and I definitely don't wanna make anybody mad, but I do have to let you know, Jeremy is one of my favorite crafters. The whole reason that I'm doing any of this is because of him, and this is just my way of giving an homage to him just about every episode, because honestly, there really isn't a time where I'm crafting that I don't think about how inspiring his videos were to make me want to do this. And everything that I'm doing, I hope that I inspire you guys in the same way that he inspired me. So you're just gonna have to forgive me. I'm gonna shout him out every episode. So let's get this all over that guy. Next up is our 3-color paint job for the stone, just using a charcoal gray to a medium gray to a light gray. And then also we're going to do our 3-tone paint job for the ground texture on top as well. So it'll be grays on the sides and browns on top. All right, and there you have it. Hopefully you can see the versatility that you can get out of a piece like this and how much it can absolutely change your game table for the better. Obviously, I'm in love with the Cliff Stackers. I wear that on my sleeve. You just can't get this out of a 2D map no matter how well it's put together. And they're just so easy to make. It is worth mentioning though, and some of you might have noticed in the battlefields that I showed earlier, there are a lot of different ways that you can make these. So if it would be something that you were interested in seeing, maybe an easier way to to make the cliff stackers or a more advanced way to make them, definitely let me know that in the comments below, because I could see myself getting very excited to make a couple more of these cliff stacker videos. If you like this video, definitely leave me a like down below. Leave me a comment of whether you want to see more of these cliff stacker videos. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell to know when our videos go live every week, which is noon on Thursdays Eastern Standard Time. Nothing else to say. That's it. Until next week, I'll be seeing you. Wow, that was the worst. When I get excited about something and I'm trying to get it all out and be excited about it and say what I need to say, it's just, the video is so much harder. It's so much harder to get it out. And that's literally all I do. Whew, that was rough. That was rough. That was rough. That was a rough.